Hey foodie friends, so today we are going to make my pork katsu or tonkatsu bowl. So let's get saucy. That's right, foodie friends, pork katsu bowl. So I'm gonna take this piece of pork loin that I have here. This is probably about 8 ounces. I'm going to, I had already wrapped it in some plastic wrap, so I'm just gonna use that same plastic wrap to pound it out thin. So we want this to be maybe about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch. And you know what actually is gonna help me is if I take a knife and slice into this fat cap here so I can let that open up. And that's also going to keep it from curling up when we saute it. So you want to release that. Now you could just take that off completely, sure, but there's not a lot of fat in this, and it's also, this is flavor, so let's just leave that flavor there, right? So the other thing that we're going to do is, again, as we're pounding this out, it's going to tenderize it, and then I actually have a tenderizer that I'm going to tenderize it with. So I'm going to get this to about, like I said, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick, and then we'll come back. All right, so we've got this pounded out, and now I'm gonna take this one. This has got some spikes in it, so it's gonna poke holes in here and really tenderize this. So I'm just gonna go, probably can't hear me, I'm just gonna go around both sides of this and get this really nice and tenderized. Flip it over and do the same on the other side. All right, so that is done. I'm gonna set this on a plate off to the side, and then I'll set up my breading station. All right, foodie friends, so we're back. I have my standard breading station set up here. So that is FEB, flour, egg, breadcrumbs. So what I have here is some just all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna season that up with a good pinch of kosher salt, some cracked black pepper, and then I'm going to add in some garlic powder and onion powder. So this is granulated garlic and granulated onion. You know, I'm not measuring here. I would say 1/8 or 1/4 of a teaspoon of the garlic and onion powder, a good teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. This is obviously going to vary based on how many pieces of pork or chicken or whatever it is that you're doing. You could do this, like, again, chicken, I just said, you could do this with tofu. Tofu would be delicious with this too. You might want to marinate your tofu a little bit to get some extra flavor in there, but it would be great with tofu. So then I'm just going to beat up this egg, and then on this one I have panko, Japanese breadcrumbs. So this is typically done with those Japanese breadcrumbs because, well, first of all, it's a Japanese dish, so that makes sense. But it's also going to give that crunchier texture to it. The Japanese breadcrumbs, they take the crust off and just break down the insides of the bread so it's lighter and fluffier, and when they toast that up, it gets crisper, and then when you fry it, it's so super crisp. So that's all set. So I'm going to now take my pork and I'm going to first get it in this flour. So you've got the wet pork, right? I mean, it's not super wet, but when you're breading something, you need to get the dry surface of the flour on there so that the eggs can stick to it, so that the breadcrumbs can really stick to that. You know, if you go just from the wet chicken or pork or whatever into the egg and then into the breadcrumbs, you're gonna get some that stick on there, but you're gonna get a lot of it that come off, right? Nice coating of flour on there. I've dusted off the extra. I'm gonna go right in the egg, and I'm using the dry hand, wet hand method. So I'm keeping this as my dry hand while I dunk this in the egg with my other hand. That will be my wet hand, so that, you know, it really doesn't matter because we're only doing one. If we were doing, you know, more than this, it would make a bigger difference, because the last thing you want is like that claw full of flour and breadcrumbs on your one hand where, you know, you can't get all of that stuff off. So that's good. We're gonna, again, let that excess egg drip off of here, and then we're going into our breadcrumbs. We're gonna press this in, get it good and coated. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it over, and I'm gonna press it in. Now I'm moving back to my dry hand because that side already has the breadcrumbs on it, so that's dried out a little bit. We're gonna pull some of these breadcrumbs back up on top. We're gonna really press them in. We want a good coating of these breadcrumbs on here. So make sure it's completely fully coated. Making too much noise, clanging glass pans together. So really get that coated, press everything in. Let's move this around a little bit so that we get another layer. And then again, same thing with this side, get some of that back up on top of there so we can really press that in. We don't want any naked pork. Naked is fun, but not when our pork is gonna go in the fryer. So anyway, get this good and pressed in here. And then I have this tray with a rack set up over here that I'm just gonna set this on while I get my oil heated up and ready to go. So once I get my oil heated up and ready to go, we'll come back and we'll fry this, and then we'll be ready to make this amazing pork katsu bowl. It's gonna be so delicious. You guys are gonna wanna try this. All right, foodie friends, so I have some neutral oil heating here over medium heat. It's been heating up, so it's nice and hot. You could use vegetable oil, which is what I used, avocado oil, any kind of neutral oil. So I'm just going to lay our katsu in here, and we're gonna go ahead and cook this on both sides for 3-4 minutes till it gets cooked through and nice and golden brown and crispy. And when that's all done, we will come back and finish off our delicious katsu bowl. Gonna give this a quick flip now to the other side. Oh, look how beautiful and golden brown that is. Put that splatter screen back on and give it a few more minutes on the other side. Like I said, 3-4 more minutes on the other side. All right, here we are. This is all done. So I'm gonna take it out and we're gonna go ahead and put it on this rack over here. And anytime you fry things, of course, you know, you gotta give them a little bit more salt. So I'm gonna just a touch more salt on the top of here. All right, so I'm gonna let this set to the side and chill out just a little bit while I get the rest of my stuff assembled, and we'll come back and make our bowl. All right, foodie friends, so I have a bowl of fresh steamed rice here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut my tonkatsu. I don't know if you could hear that crunch, but it's nice and crispy. I'm gonna cut it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put part of this on here. And then I have some pickled carrots here that I made. So some of those, a little nice pile of those right on here. And some of this delicious cucumber and tomato salad kind of right over here, and pile that up, and then take some of this dressing and kind of drizzle that over the rice as well. Just extra flavor everywhere. Beautiful. And then I'm making a mess as always. And then just for some beautiful fresh herbiness, I'm gonna take some fresh cilantro and just put that right in the center. And now you could make a tonkatsu sauce if you wanted to, or a katsu sauce. I've done that before, but I have some hoisin sauce, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use that. And I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of that right on top of my pork. And for me, because I like things kind of spicy, I'm gonna put a little bit of sriracha on here too. And that is my beautiful pork katsu rice bowl. I may get as much of this on my fork as I can. I've got some carrots, some cucumber. I'm gonna try to get a piece of this pork. It's a lot though. That is so good. That crunchy pork, of course the steamed rice, those vegetables, everything works harmoniously together. This is absolutely delicious. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. There is a link to the full written recipe in the description box below. You can follow me across all social media at Chef Lynn Wheeler, and keep exploring, keep tasting, and keep celebrating the flavors that bring us together.